ready. Um, hold on. How's everyone today? I have something to talk about that I was reminded of. That Rick was talking last week about what he went through with his accident with his hand. So I was thinking to myself about the problems of suffering. Suffering is quite a thing that we go through. And many people that I meet in life, when we come up to talk about God or Jesus, they always have the same question for me. Like, why does God allow suffering? And, if a good God is so good, why does he let people suffer? Which is a good question. But, first of all, Jesus in his word says he did not promise that we would not suffer. He actually said we would have persecution and trial, especially those of the faith. And so, but I want to encourage you by telling you first, explain to you the purpose of suffering that God has, and then our proper response, which should encourage you guys when you come across suffering. We all suffer anyway, so we do. Whether you lose someone, or whether you lose a job, or you have pain in your life, we all are acquainted with that. So, but the passage I picked was from James, but I can't find it.
James 1, verse 2.
I think that was it. Yeah, consider it all. See, that's why he's a pastor. Consider it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and that endurance has a perfect result, and may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. But there are a lot of reasons why God allows suffering. The purpose of suffering, though, are many. For one thing, he does it to produce fruit in us, which is kind of strange, but he wants us to rely on him, and there are many passages that talk about this. For one, James 1:3 says, the testing of your faith produces endurance. And then also, he wants, even though it seems weird when you're suffering, he wants to give you joy. Psalm 35 is clear about this. Weeping may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. So though we have a lot of suffering, we have a lot of joy that comes later. And then also, it also gives us knowledge. Blessed is the man whom thou dost chasten, O Lord, dost teach out of thy law. So he teaches us from his suffering, And also, it helps us to mature as Christians. And Paul talks about this. He says, and after you have suffered for a little while, the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself perfect, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. The primary reason that God allows suffering is to bring him glory. And there were several passages, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but John 9:1-3, in which Jesus heals a blind man, and they ask him, why can't we do this? And he says, it's to bring God glory. He wants to show us his power and authority over diseases and suffering. Now, so that's what the purpose of suffering is, and to encourage you guys how to respond to it. I have a good friend of mine that responded really well to suffering. Her house is completely blown off the face of the earth. She got a new house. And instead of being, oh, why, God? Why did you do this to me? She actually thanked God for the trial. Similar to what Job did when his wife said, curse and die and curse God. He said, no, blessed God gives, according to the song, God gives and takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. But, that's really important to know that we have to, in order to respond in a way that's honoring God, in a way that's what is a good mark. And I really would encourage you, because we all will go through suffering. When you respond accordingly, God will reward you and eventually take you out of your trials. there's another passage that says, God will not allow you to go through so much that you cannot handle. That's paraphrasing, but it's true. So I just want to encourage you guys that if you are going through something like a lot of people in church are suffering with mental anxiety, physical anxiety, just all kinds of spiritual attacks, that God knows what you're going through. He may allow it, but he also gives you a way to deal with it and to honor him in the process. That's my word for you.